Hello everyone! So, a vital truth is being deliberately hidden from you and the public. The books whose title is World Emergency, Save Humanity, go for the healing miracle of the optimal vegan diet and stop the crime against humanity. Volumes 1 and 2 will be published soon. These books will tell you, like the 11,000 scientists in a report published in November 2019 in the scientific journal Bioscience, that there is a world climate emergency. The world has to massively go vegan because animal agriculture is responsible to 18 to 50% of the greenhouse gas emissions according to the World Watch Institute, and because the vegan diet is the best diet for our health. It gives longevity, it's a fountain of youth, and most diseases can be healed thanks to this diet, according to a consensus of the top world experts on health and nutrition. For those who watched the first video, please stay with us until I give you new information. A crime against humanity and against vegetarian and vegan stars has been going on. To stop this message from being revealed to the public, about 8,814 people were killed, but we have to subtract the victims who were mentioned in fake news. It's an anti-vegan group who retaliated each time I made progress with my activism and my investigations. They killed people and showed me the news of their deaths via the media, along with codes so that I understand their message. So the stars were killed to prevent them from converting their millions of fans to the vegetarian or vegan lifestyle, and to prevent these stars from supporting the efficient and preventive medicine of the Physicians' Committee of Responsible Medicine founded by Dr. Neil Barnard in 1985. For example, Christina Grimmie and River Phoenix were specifically famous stars and vegan activists. They were murdered for their activism in favor of veganism. So it's one of the greatest scandals of this century. It's a crime against humanity, an international case on the urgency of vegetarianism and veganism for the people and the planet. So what will your future self be on a vegan diet? There are four golden reasons to be a vegetarian and better a vegan. Number 1, you will have a perfect health. Number 2, wisdom. You follow the way of the sages, of philosophers, and our ancestors, the first humans who were vegetarians. Some sages are vegans as well. So, number 3, environment. As for the environment and peace, there's a world climate emergency. You help prevent the 6th mass extinction of species, including humanity. No wars against animals leads to no wars between people. Number 4, you will reach toward your best self. You will have an exquisite beauty, great physical, moral, spiritual, intellectual strength. You will have better physical performances, you will have a pacified mind, emotional balance. You will have a higher level of conscience and spirituality. You will help create a more peaceful, fair, fraternal, and wealthy world. These claims are supported by experts and sages. The vegan diet is adapted for pregnancies, babies, the general population, even for athletes who only have to eat more for their physical performances, according to plant-based doctors, the American Association of Dietetists of Canada. Who am I? What gives me the authority to write these books? I am the CEO of a training center that teaches English. I have a bachelor's degree and a master's level in English. I studied philosophy for a year at university. I have passed a competitive examination to enter several colleges of engineering, including a general one specialized in robotics, one in material science, and a general one, and one specialized in the genius of industrial systems and innovation. I was the first successor to Miss Vietnam at a beauty contest in 1993 in France. I've been a peace, human rights, vegetarianism, veganism, environmental activist since 2013. I've been a volunteer investigator since then. Now I have a vegan diet. I am 42 and I'm a French citizen. Albert Einstein, who was a vegetarian, said, "Nothing will better increase the chance of survival of life on Earth and be more beneficial to human health than the evolution toward a vegetarian diet." He said if the whole world goes vegetarian, it will change the destiny of humanity. And doctors say that a vegan diet is even better than a vegetarian diet. And I think we should listen to this genius, because intelligent people solve problems and geniuses prevent them, according to a quote. So let's prevent the sixth mass extinction of species, including humanity. So these books are a memoir and an exclusive, rare investigation, originally written for the judges who could take care of this international case: the local public prosecutors, the European Court of Human Rights, the International Criminal Court, the UN Commission for Human Rights, the Supreme Court of the USA. It is the result of the collective work of the vegetarian, vegan, and freedom movement. This book was written for all people of the world, interested in better understanding our world and refusing to believe in the conventional and imposed narrative. These books reveal the identity of the network of criminals. It's a sprawling international organization that will tell you about the modus operandis they use. See video 1 on my author's website, which is http:// Diane Nguyen .wixsite.com/monsite -1. So I show the harassment against the vegetarian, vegan, and freedom movement and the world. I tell about the killings of people. I explain how to survive the attacks of the network. I tell about my activism and the retaliations of the network. So how did it all start? So after I learned, thanks to Dr. Neil Barnard, founder of the Physicians Committee of Responsible Medicine, and via his work with the French Vegetarian Association, the French Vegetarian Association. So after I learned, thanks to this doctor, that it was possible to eat a vegetarian diet and better a vegan diet, I started my activism in 2013 to help animals and people. I learned from a regional delegate of the French Vegetarian Association that the French Ministry of Health knew that the vegetarian and vegan diet, which is the optimal diet for humans, that they were better for people's health, but they did not take any action because of the lobbies. So I sent an anonymous letter to the ARS, Regional Health Agency of Île-de-France near Paris, to explain the medical benefits of a plant-based diet for patients. But then the network of criminals spotted me because I left traces on the website I had mentioned. Then on a vegan Facebook group, I received the first indirect death threat from an individual called Moriarty, who said to his friend, "You're going to die." So we need your help to stop the crime against humanity. There is a global treachery to keep people ignorant of the optimal benefits of a vegan diet. Please learn about the message given in these books to be able to take action. The question is, who is responsible for lying to the public and provide no assistance to people who are getting more and more sick because of the omnivore diet? The answer is in the books. What can you do to help? I don't have the complete answer. Ultimately, we all have to find the answer to this problem as nations or a nation of the world. Let me tell you about the history of the current vegetarian and omnivore Western diet. The philosophical question is, are we on the right track concerning our Western omnivore diet? You know, in the past, the first humans were vegetarians according to the IVU, the International Vegetarian Union. 6th century Japan, ancient China were vegetarians. Several Native American tribes in North America had thrived in harsh conditions, even when they were displaced by American settlers, because they relied on a plant-based diet. According to a Native American scholar with a PhD, cited by the International Vegetarian Union, today in rural Africa and rural China, people live on a whole foods plant-based diet. In India, there are 500 million vegetarians, and we can assume that they have been vegetarians from one generation to the next since time immemorial. In France, in the Middle Ages, people ate white beans, potatoes, and bread. Meat was rare. The great-grandparents of current French generations ate meat once a week. Anthropologists say that war started in Europe when people began to keep animals for their consumption. Interestingly, Dr. Rodolphe Ballantyne, who wrote the book The Transition to Vegetarianism, an Evolutionary Step, he says that meat eating may create an inclination to inexplicable violence or a pervasive sense of pointless anger and hostility. Well, after World War II and industrialization, the consumption of meat greatly increased, along with diseases of our civilization. Slaughterhouses became mechanized, and the creation of plastic food packaging trays allowed meat and animal products to be more widely distributed. The result was that people consumed more and more meat, fish, and animal products. We have to stop and ask ourselves if this trend is a good one. The philosopher Rabelais and Albert Einstein said, "Science without conscience is only ruin to the soul." In the field of food and nutrition, it appears that society needs to be channeled, otherwise our societies could choose to binge on the bad food, meat, fish, processed meat, animal products, until our bodies can't take it anymore, even if it's harmful for us. And we can go on eating this way if nobody tells us that these foods are bad for us. You know, we cannot kill 60 billion animals and 500 billion sea animals every year in the world without there being no consequences for us. Every action we do has good or bad consequences. The consequences are there. 18 to 50% of the greenhouse gas emissions are caused by animal agriculture, according to the World Watch Institute. For example, cows belch methane, which is a greenhouse gas emission that's more potent than CO2. The Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, the IPCC, and other experts warn that if we don't change our lifestyle, there is a risk of global warming of 41 to 44 degrees Fahrenheit or 5 to 7 degrees by 2100, which would be a catastrophe for future generations. There would be more lack of harvests, lack of water, generalized wars, and the extinction of humanity, along with the sixth extinction of species. Nature is giving us clear warnings that we have to change our behavior with the worsening of natural catastrophes everywhere. Climate change makes these worse. Floods, rains, winds, tempests above, oceans which have warmed up, fires, according to the Red Cross. In November 2019, the Alliance World Scientists, 11,000 scientists from 153 countries, published a report in the scientific journal Bioscience. They studied 40 years of data and encouraged people to massively adopt a plant-based diet, because there is a world climate emergency. They sent a letter to mayors worldwide to ask them to serve less meat and more plant-based options to students in school cafeterias. William J. Ripple and 64 other scientists led this movement. In November 2017, 15,000 scientists had also warned of the same problem. Excuse me for the noise, but I have to deal with what I am presented with. Fresh water per inhabitant has been divided in two compared to 1960. Vertebrate species have diminished by 58% from 1970 to 2012. There are 600 ocean dead zones. There is overfishing in 33% of the world fish stock, according to the UN Food and Agriculture Organization. Global warming has increased by 33 degrees Fahrenheit or 0.9 degrees Celsius from 1901 to 2012. So what is my particular feature? What is my positioning? Why is my testimonial important for humanity? This information about the world climate emergency, conveyed by 15,000 or 11,000 scientists in 2017 and 2019, I have also been denouncing it since 2013, 4 years before the reports were published, which shows that I have the ability to know things in advance by intuition, like Sibyl's and the oracle of Delphi. The oracles in the past served for people to predict the future, to help them act accordingly and in the right way for a wealthy future. Other elements that show that I predict the future is that in 1985 I was 8 and I knew that the internet was going to exist. It started to be a public service in the 1990s only and existed in the USA and in the army, but these were facts that I didn't know at that age. I had a vision of a double 11 a few days before the attacks at Charlie Hebdo newspaper in France at 11 a.m. in the 11th district of Paris on January the 7th, 2015. I started to understand that I had visions of the future. Once I had a bad feeling for Antarctica, and I quickly learned after that seeds that were kept for humanity had been stolen. I had warned about the possible terrorist attacks in Verviers in Belgium in 2015, and then terrorist attacks had been prevented there. I had drawn only one plant in the files about the international case, laurels, and I later learned that the oracle of Delphi ate laurels for her predictions. She ate laurels for her predictions. She also said that Socrates was the best philosopher of his time. It's like I preferred him also during my studies of philosophies at university. And back then I knew nothing about the oracle of Delphi. She also said the rivers are drying up. Recently, I had also noticed that rivers were drying up in countries under the equator, and even in France because of global warming. I noticed less rains. In 2017, 60% of the groundwater was low or very low. I learned that the oracle of Delphi spoke on behalf of god Apollo, the god of medicine. I did not know that, and I sent to all the 31 French medical schools the nutrition guide and webinars for medical students of Dr. Neil Barnard. So it's about the vegan diet and how it helps to prevent, stop and reverse diseases. And I sent that also to 767 hospitals. When I was a medical secretary student, I had just become a vegetarian again, and I had learned that the vegetarian and better a vegan diet were better, gave a perfect health. So I knew by intuition, and I knew better than the heads of departments who had decades of experience during my internships at the Laboratory of Genetics or the Rehabilitation Center for the Hand, that the vegan diet could prevent the expression of bad genes, prevent, stop and reverse cancer, and help tendons of people after surgery to hold better. Well, at that time I did not know yet that the vegetarian diet, but that the vegan diet was better than the vegetarian diet, but it was not bad for a medical secretary student. So these facts are proven by Dr. T. Colin Campbell, Dr. Michael Greger, Dr. Christian Northrup. So my message, as someone who has abilities to predict rightly the future, even if it's only in rare occasions, this message is valuable. It is also valuable because I escaped more than 85 murder attempts, and I should not be here providing you with this important information. I've been stalked, harassed, and given death threats every day for several years by more than 373 accomplices to stop this message and the publication of these books. Thank you very much. You can leave comments under the video. As doctors say, please go vegan for your health, for the world, for animals and the environment. We have a world climate emergency. So the book's World Emergency Save Humanity. Go for the healing miracle of the optimal vegan diet and stop the crime against humanity. A memoir and investigation, Volume 1 and 2, will be published soon by Balboa Press, which is a division of Hay House. Please learn about their message. We need your help to stop the international crime against humanity. Thank you so much. And two disclaimers. Please do not look at this presentation for medical advice. I am a peace activist and not a medical doctor, and any accusation and allegation made in these books and this presentation against anyone has to be proven right by an honest international criminal court. Thank you very much. Goodbye.